There's underperformance, okay? Okay, it's depressing.
I don't want to.
What has Bitcoin ever done for mankind? Are you ever on a Bitcoin phone?
If you're watching this in March of 2024, the bad news is, when it comes to financial markets, you're looking at the beginning of the end. But the good news is, the end is where most of the money is made. So whether you're wondering whether you should get into the markets, whether you should get into crypto, whether you're already positioned in, and whether you're wondering whether you should cash out or leave it in, we're gonna dive into all of that right now. You can call me Sama. I am an investor, astrologer, and an advisor to CEOs, entrepreneurs, artists. I use real world information, what you could call fundamental analysis, or what we call alpha, or just good information that other people aren't privy to. I use that in combination with what's called technical analysis, which are price charts using techniques called like the Fibonacci or the stochastics, RSI, things like that, support resistance levels. And what people tend to be interested in is the financial astrology component. I also look at astrological charts as well to come up with my predictions. I call the top of the market at the end of 2021 going into 2022. You can see that video on my channel. I called the bottom of the crypto bear market. I have a tweet of that on Twitter demonstrating that. And there's a clip of me telling people that, hey, the bull market is here and it's gonna continue here at the end of 2023. End of October, this premiered. Really, this was shot around this time period in October, middle of October, where the price was around $27,000 and $28,000. This video comes out, we'll start to hear more of that. You know, it's all within this eclipse umbrella, but what the big money like BlackRock will be doing is they'll be buying, and then we'll see Bitcoin above 30K next year in 2024. So those are my predictions. Not a stranger to these markets, but what I don't do is I don't give financial advice. So you can choose to view this as entertainment. You can choose to view this as education. You can choose not to view this at all. I don't really care. Just don't blame me for your financial decisions, whether they pan out or not. If they pan out, great. So we recently had a stellium of planets, a grouping of planets, in the zodiac sign of Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is an air sign. There are 4 elements that comprise of our physical reality. If you've had a reading with me before, you've heard me go into this. Earth that we live on, fire that we cook food with, big ball of fire in the sky, air we breathe, water we drink, all exist in a quantum field of space. That's the physical reality we live in. Whether you believe in astrology or not, that's what it is. You can go verify that for yourself in the physical world. And so Aquarius is an air sign. It is a fixed air sign. The 4 elements go through different phases, which you could consider to be a beginning, middle, and end phase. And the middle phase of the air element is known as Aquarius. That air is, you could say, steady or stagnant or concentrated. And that, because it's an air sign, an air component, air has to do with communication, intellect, things that are communicated or transmitted through the air. Aquarius is going to be specifically related to attributes such as independence, innovation, human traits, right? Things related to human beings like networks, things that we write about, things that we trade, things that benefit humanity, and issues related to the individual as well. So that polarity exists because this is a sign that is exactly opposite Leo, which is more about the heart and the individual as well. So both of these energies exist on an axis, as do all zodiac signs. Now, when you have a grouping of planets in the sign of Aquarius or in any sign, what those planets represent energetically are going to then be concentrated in that area that they're in. So if you're in your bedroom, you're affected a certain way, right? If you're in the bathroom, you're affected a certain way. There's certain things you can do there. If you're in the kitchen, there's certain things you can do there. right? If you're at the beach, there's certain things you can't do that you can at the top of a mountaintop. So planets moving into different zodiac signs orient themselves in the same way. And the grouping of planets in the sign of Aquarius has had a notable, obvious boost to things in the financial markets related to what Aquarius, that air sign, rules and represents, like technology, right? Markets, things related to networks, super chips, supercomputers, Nvidia stock, right? Apple, Tesla, all these different types of tech stocks which are really pulling the markets forward. Notice how that grouping of planets in Aquarius, with Jupiter making its approach towards another technological planet known as Uranus, this created a massive increase in the price of these really tech-focused assets like Bitcoin and Nvidia. Now, when will all this stop? This grouping of planets has already dissipated. It's already left the sign of Aquarius. There's a specific set of days that I see this bull run ending. And in this video, I'm not gonna tell you. Not in this one. I'll likely do that this summer. But the reason I'm doing that is because I already made a report last December. And to honor the people who bought that, I gave them an exact particular date around a particular full moon this year. That's a hint for you if you are into astrology and want to do your own research. And knowing that date alone is worth the price of the report alone. If you're interested in getting that, I would get it before the end of April. Okay. And so I'm inspired to remind you though, some of you might not know this, some of you do though, depending on how deep you are in, let's say, the crypto market in particular, and markets in general. September is a traditionally what's called a bearish month for Bitcoin, for crypto, and for financial markets in general. I don't see this year being any different. In fact, what I will tell you, here's what I'll tell you. In this video, what I'll be doing in general, I will have exited a lot of my positions. I'm telling you what I'm doing, not what you should do. I will be exiting a lot of my positions before the end of June, and let's say more than half of them I'll be out before the end of July. Not a bad idea for the average person if I'm thinking out loud, because I don't give financial advice, but it wouldn't be a bad idea, just thinking out loud. So this is the time period over the next couple of months, right? Some of you are going to see things like Dogecoin running, and you're going to feel like you're missing out. And there's going to be commercials sponsored by crypto. And then at the time, some of you finally muster the courage to finally enter the market. Boom. It's all going to be all over. It's a wrap. That's the stage of the game we're in. So some of the people are going to be like, we're so early. It's just getting started. No, it's the beginning of the end here. There's quite literally been a new trend of people taking out short-term loans just to pay for their rent and their bills for the next month. This is not by any means a trend that you would see in a thriving economy. The bull run is going to end this year. So when it comes to crypto, 100K, 150K, 500K, 1 million, you're hearing all kinds of crazy numbers, and you're going to continue to hear more crazy numbers. It's more probable that we see 100K Bitcoin than we don't. It's very likely. I don't think it's going to do much more than that though. There won't be any $1 million Bitcoin this cycle, no 500K Bitcoin or anything close to that. So all those people that are saying Bitcoin will be 500,000, good luck to all of you. Good luck with that. 400K? Nope. 300K? Nope. 200K? I doubt it. 150K? Well, here's the interesting thing about that. The time it took Bitcoin to double after breaking its previous all-time high price was anywhere between 18 and 84 days. So we are going to touch, if not cross, the all-time high by the time this video is out. By the time this video gets on Lada's channel, who knows what the price will be. We probably would have crossed it by then. And I think we have more than 84 days left to go in this bull run, particularly for crypto. So I talk about this in my monthly newsletter, and there's a free version of that for people who can see my updates on a regular basis on how I see what the market is doing. And what I told them is a lot of the increase that you see in crypto is triggered due to institutional buying pressure that took place at the end of last year. And now these inflows are starting to kick in and come through. This is due to BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. Right? You can see that in the clip of the last interview I had at the end of October. What the big money like BlackRock will be doing is they'll be buying with a lot, which was actually filmed in the middle of October when things were quite bearish. I came out and said that the markets will not die. The better place for people to put their money is in the United States market rather than in the banks. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit because the banking issues are not over. So BlackRock, Vanguard, a lot of these financial institutions, the big ones, they've been watching the space. They saw what happened in 2021 and they want a piece of the pie. They want that sweet, sweet crypto money and they're going to get it. So this is why they are looking to get an Ethereum ETF approved sometime between May and August of this year. Ethereum is the trade of the year. Ethereum's going to be the bigger story.
Here's the interesting one, and here's the thought. You have Bitcoin up 58%. Right. You have Ethereum up 57%. Ethereum doesn't have the ETF yet. So you have a lot of people who are going to own Ethereum on the belief that an ETF is coming.
Ethereum is a digital network in which the next version of the internet is essentially being created. That is new, that is innovative, that is disruptive, it's awkward, it's full of scams and issues. The young people, the youth are all behind it. These are all traits that describe Uranian energy. And Jupiter, the planet of expansion, it is a literal gas giant. You can look this up, that's what it is. It's an expansive planet, it expands what it touches. Jupiter is coming close to expand things like that, which include things like AI and crypto, which is why in my 2024 report, I'm going to show you a little glimpse here. You can see one of the sectors I recommended is AI. And you can even see the trajectory that I've recommended here on how the market is going to go. And so far, you can see that I am correct. So Ethereum is going to be huge, huge. Whereas Bitcoin might double in price here, Ethereum will definitely 2x from here at a minimum. In fact, you know, if I were to give you some price numbers, we'll probably see 11K Ethereum, if not 15, before the next crypto bear market. It's very likely. If the run gets cut short, we might just see it at 9K. But I would not be surprised if we got up to 15,000 for one Ethereum. And then you have people like this with over 500,000 followers just leading people astray, just leading them off a cliff. If you think BlackRock bought Bitcoin around 27K, 30K to allow it with their ETF to drop to 10K, you need to delete your account. You have no credibility. You've completely missed the plot. We didn't even drop to 10K before Larry Fink got involved. End of discussion there. So remember, the planet Uranus is correlated to quick, sudden, violent movements. There's an element of speed here that we're talking about with what it touches. So Jupiter will expand the natural element of speed that the planet Uranus innately brings to the transits and the impacts that we experience. So what this looks like for markets is known as a blow-off top. What that all means is the market is going to move very quickly after the end of April. It's already moving very quickly. The excitement and the euphoria will rise to a peak after April. People won't be able to stop talking about the markets. This summer, they'll be saying, it's still early. This is going to be the beginning of a larger super cycle. The market will just go on in a straight line for years and it'll never come down. And they're all going to be full of shit. So mathematically, we're going to see Bitcoin over $70,000. And if I had to reverse engineer what that's going to look like, without spoiling the info of my paid newsletter, Bitcoin is most likely going to come up to 69K, reach all-time high, stutter sideways, drop down maybe down to the 50K range, somewhere between the Pisces new moon and the Pisces eclipse happening this March. and then it'll definitively cross over 70K. And around the time of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, April, the ball will be rolling. It'll be really quick, right? The moon is also going to be what's called out of bounds around the 25th of March. What does that mean? Well, out of bounds is essentially like, if you view, think of, this isn't the best analogy, but think of a bunch of high school kids who live in their parents' house and their dad's kind of a stern, strong father. And for one weekend, dad's taking mom out on their honeymoon vacation. And so these kids are now in their father's kingdom, or in his house, in their parents' house, but without the view of the parents watching over them. They are now free to do whatever the hell they want to do. Whether that's throw a house party, whether that's study, or break things and hide them and glue them together. They're essentially free from the view of the authority. And so when a planet is out of bounds, they are outside of the realm of the view of the sun, outside of the authority figure's watch. And so crazy things can happen. Crazy price movements that aren't necessarily normal, or things also in reality out in the world, events that are outside of normal, will be things that we witness. I'm not going to get into the mundane aspects of that, but you might hear more crazy things in the news around that time, because we're talking about an eclipse and the moon is out of bounds. So interesting date, the 20th, the 25th, pretty much the end of March. Going to be a really interesting time in markets. So we got a lot of volatile astrology coming up. We've already witnessed what that can do in February, and we got more of that coming up in March and April. So look, once Bitcoin crosses over 70K, if you're not in the market and you want to be, it's going to feel to many of you like you've missed out. I'm not telling anyone they should or shouldn't be in the market. Let me be explicitly clear. But if you want to be, and you're not after the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, what that's going to look like is you're going to be freaking checking your phone every day, and the Bitcoin price is going to be going up, and the ETH price will be going up even more, and you'll be sick to your stomach thinking about all the things the money could have changed for you. Those are just emotions. They happen at the top of every cycle. You're human, it's fine. There will be other bull markets. Just don't make the mistake of jumping into the markets this September. Like, you know what, I'm ready to come in, because it's going to drop on you. Now, on the low end, it's possible that Bitcoin only goes as high as 85K, and that would be the end of it. So in my eyes, what's viable, what's possible, what's reasonable is a price range between 85 and 150K. I would suggest that anything that you hear or predict outside of that range is unreasonable for 2024. All right? And I think that somewhere between 100K and 150 is most likely. So with what I hear coming with Ethereum, I think if Bitcoin stops at 85K this year, it's going to be because of something that we're hearing in the news or something of greater concern. That's a different issue. And is that possible? Yes. If that were to be the case, I broke down what planets out of bounds can be like. We're going to have the moon, Mercury, and Venus, 3 planets, all out of bounds around the 20th of June. So that is affecting some American and some financial charts that I don't want to get into in this video, in a way that hint at issues either related to a health issue or issues related to war. So there could be a health crisis or something breaking out, and it's probably going to involve North America. Again, look, a reminder, I said I was going to wrap up with banking. Remember there was a banking crisis with Credit Suisse last year? It kind of felt like it was swept under the rug. But for those in the know that understand the significance of that event was actually bigger than the financial crash in 2008. The United States Federal Reserve put in a program to kind of patch things up. And for whatever freaking reason, they actually are letting that program expire. It'll be done by the time you watch this video. So that program was put in place to contain the rippling effects of damage that would have occurred after Credit Suisse. Now they're letting that expire. So the underlying bank issues that were there that caused Credit Suisse to blow up, we might see more of these, as we say, these bodies floating underneath the water, kind of coming ashore. These banks that are not in a good position, we'll see more of that unless they bring back a new program. But why would they bring a new program in when they could have just kept the old one going? So it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. And I'll update you with a more in-depth video on what I see related to the banks, including some of the larger American banks and credit card companies and how that may or may not affect them. We'll get into that. Maybe they stupidly think the banking crisis is over, or maybe they want the banks to collapse. That's beyond the scope of this video. See, a lot of these regional banks have their money in commercial real estate. And now that we're in the Aquarian age, you guys saw this shift in 2020. Commercial real estate is fucking dead. Everyone wants to work from home. These banks have a ticking time bomb on their hands. So if you're in a place where you want to have a serious conversation about investing or your portfolio or financial astrology, you can book a session. If you're an experienced crypto trader and you're watching this in March and you want to know what altcoins I'm looking at, you can DM me on Instagram or on Twitter. If you're not an experienced crypto trader, do not DM me. I'm not hand-holding anyone through what's about to take place. You're too late. And if you want to be kept up to date with my general thoughts on the markets from here on out, I have a newsletter you can sign up for free. And if not, of course, do whatever the hell you want. Be well. Peace. Take care of yourself.